Let us continue with our lesson, and the next step we will create a user profile controller and we'll add a method to retrieve a user detail using that controller. So let's go and create a controller. So I'm going to terminal over here and I'll say PHP artisan make control make controller. So PHP artisan make controller, and controller will create inside the controller API, and let us create a user profile or a profile controller. So what I will say that API, so API is aware controller API, and inside this API I will create a profile. So PROFILE profile, and inside this profile I'll create a controller. So I will say PROFILE profile CON, or we can just say as a user PROFILE NTROL, yeah. So user profile controller, and just hit enter. So it has created a controller for us. So if you refresh this side, now you can see the profile, and inside this profile we have a user profile controller. You just open this file, the controller over here, and inside this we create a function. So create a public function, and we will say that as a get user detail. So get user detail by ID. So we will pass a parameter as a ID over here, and so get user detail, and we'll have to pass the ID, and this ID will be the user ID. So I will say data over here. So create a variable of our data. This is of equals to, I will make use of a DB query. So DB and a table. So inside this table we'll add a query for the table. So table name is from where we'll get the user. So if we go to the section phpMyAdmin, so from the user we'll be taking out the username and the email. So we will use a username and email from the user table, and from the user profile we will take the profile image and profile path, image path, and the bio. So from here we'll take a 3 column, and from user we will extract the name and email. So let's go back to the project, and from here we'll take the user table. So that's the users table. If that's the user table, you can see, and from DB the table is the users, and from where I will select the, I'll use a where condition where I can say users dot id. So the column table user dot id, right? So where, and inside this I'll say comma, and operator is equals to the id over here that we have passed over here. So this is equals to id that we have passed as the argument, and we will join this table. So I will join with the table name. So what is the table name? So this is the table user profile. So just copy the table name from here and paste it over here. So this is a join to this user profile, and just see the comma over here, and this we need to pass the join table, and after table we need to pass the user. First is user, so users dot id, so users dot id comma, and operator is equals to the second field that we have to compare is the user profile dot it, the user profile has the user id. So this is the user id. So just copy this user id field name and paste it over here. So just don't worry, later I will try to explain it. And after we have join, I will select the column from users, right? So users.id, I will select, sorry, I need to pass the over here, so it should be users and users.id. So I will extract users.id, select users.id, and also the users dot name I need, and also I need a users dot email. So I will select a 3 column from user, and after user I will select the user profile. So from user profile I will need, from user profile I will need a profile image. Just copy this one and paste it over here. And from user profile, just copy user profile dot, I will also need a profile image path. Just copy this one, paste it over here. And also I will need a user profile dot, so user profile dot I will need another one is the bio. So just copy this and paste it over here. So we have selected the username that ID, email, password, and also the profile the image, and also profile image path and bio. And after the select, what we can do is we can get the first. The first will return the first. Okay, so sorry for that one. That should be, we have to close the bracket first over here. So after that we get the first record. So the first is it will get the first record from this statement. So whenever we use this statement, from here it will select the first record. And after that we need to return the data. So I can just say return, sorry, return response of JSON, and I'll pass the data. And I can just say STT, sorry, it should be a response response. Sorry, it should be of response of the HTTP, and I will just say okay. So okay means that everything's working correctly. So we have a function which is taking one parameter of ID, and here we have created a variable of data, and we have used a DB table query, and we select the user table and where the user ID is equals to the ID that we are passing over here, and we are joining with the user profile. And when we join user profile, we select the first column as a user.id is equals to user profile line, the user ID, and then we select the column from both the table and we get the first record, and after we get the data we will return them data. So this is the function that we have created. And let's go to we need to go back to our API. So go to routes over here. Inside this routes I will go to the API, and this API should be inside the prefix tag. So I will create a new route, just copy all of this, and on the here I'll paste that one and just remove this one, and the prefix I'll say as a user. I'll say as the users, or we can just say as a user. So prefix user is protected by the middleware of auth API, and I will say get route.get and get say user user slash sorry, it should be user. We already have a prefix, so after that we detail and slash, and we need to pass the path argument of ID. So we will pass the argument of ID. So we have a detail. The route should be the users and detail and the ID we have to pass over here, and that should go to the controller of our, not the auth controller, user profile controller. So just say API profile, so rename that one. So it should go to API profile, and the controller is the user profile controller. Just paste it over here, and the function is this one. So get user detail is the function name that we have to pass. So okay, so we have that one, set it over here. So I think that should work as expected, and so I think we go and test it out. So okay, so I think we will do it in the next lecture. So till then, have a great day.